So what we're doing today is just more practice with unit circle. There's really not anything new. The additional piece of information I was actually already using when we were using unit circle in class. So first example, given an ordered pair on the unit circle, we're going to find the 6 trig functions. So remember, sine is the y value, so we have 15/17. Cosine is the x value, so we have -8/17. And tangent is the ratio of sine over cosine. So we are going to take sine times the reciprocal of cosine. Our 17s cancel, so our tangent is -15/8. And our additional 3 are the reciprocal of the initial 3. So cosecant is 17/15. Secant is -17/8. And cotangent is -8/15. The reference angle is theta in the first quadrant that gives the same sine and cosine values as an angle that lands in another quadrant. So you could see, for example, we could look at this point in the fourth quadrant either as being rotated in the negative direction or as being rotated all the way around. But you can see that the x-coordinate, because I drew in that vertical line there, the x-coordinate is the same, and the y-coordinate would be the same as well. We would just have to find the y-coordinate as a negative instead of a positive. So that's how we use unit circle. We've got 5π/4. What's easy about radians is that the reference angle will have the same denominator, and it will just be pi in the numerator. So our reference angle for 5π/4 would simply be π/4. So we find the sine and the cosine values for π/4. This is the one where they are equal to each other, √2 over 2, √2 over 2. Next, we figure out which quadrant 5π/4 lands in, so we can figure out if our sine and cosine are positive or negative. So we count. There was 1π/4, 2π/4, 3π/4, 4π/4, and 5π/4. So we're landing in the third quadrant where the values would both be negative, sine and cosine. So we have sine is -√2 over 2. Cosine is -√2 over 2. Tangent is the ratio. A negative divided by a negative is positive, so we get a +1. And flipping, so we would get -2 over √2. And when we rationalize this, we multiply by √2 over √2. So we get -2 √2 over 2, but those 2's cancel, leaving us with simply a -√2. Secant, of course, will be the same as cosecant in this case, and the reciprocal of 1 is still 1, so that's our cotangent. Our next one, we've got -4π/3, so the reference angle would simply be π/3 because 3 is in the denominator. So that is the first quadrant angle that we're going to take a look at. And that one is the 60 degrees, so that's the one that's higher. And this would be 1/2 √3 over 2. So now we find where -4π/3 would land. So counting, we get 1π/3, 2π/3, 3π/3, 4π/3. Remember, we're rotating in the negative direction this time, so I landed in the second quadrant. So that would make our x-coordinate negative, but our y-coordinate would remain positive. So our sine is √3 over 2, our y-coordinate. Cosine is our x-coordinate, -1/2. And tangent would be sine times the reciprocal of cosine. Our 2's cancel. We get -√3. Cosecant flips, so we get 2 over √3. Here's a shortcut. Take the radical that's in the denominator, move it to the numerator, and then it would simply be a whole number in the denominator, whatever was under the radical before. So you will multiply the numerator by the radical and just pull the number out from the radical for your denominator. Secant will flip to -2, and cotangent will flip to 1 over -square root of 3. So again, pull that radical to the numerator and just drop the radical in the denominator. That's a shortcut for rationalizing. Our last example, we have -9 pi over 2. Because we have pi over 2 up here, which has a different value from the 3 pi over 2, we just need to figure out which one of those points that -9 pi over 2 lands at. So rotating in the negative direction, we'd have -1 pi over 2, full pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our -9 pi over 2 would land at the point 0, -1. So filling in our sine would be -1, cosine is 0, tangent is sine over cosine, division by 0 is undefined. Cosecant, flipping -1 would still be -1. Flipping 0, it becomes undefined. And when you flip an undefined, it becomes 0, because remember this came from 1 over 0, so when you flip it, you get the 0 over 1. And your U-tries as usual. Enjoy!